Hello everyone. So I actually lost all of the footage of me building and decorating the outside. So I'm just going to show you what I have so far. I really wanted to just do like a family ranch house. So I used a lot of horse ranch in this build because obviously it just fit. And I imagined they had some kids, so I put the new playground back there. I really liked the way that it fit. Gave them a little fire pit and a grill and seating area. This like plot also has that, you'll see it later, but it has like the extension, I guess you could call it, of like the horse arena. So I just like to imagine that that was theirs as well. I didn't give them any space for horses, but I imagine that they would probably have some. I am also sick right now, so just bear with my voice a little bit. I'm kind of stuffy, but I'm doing okay. For this like wraparound porch, I didn't want to put too much because it was so narrow. Like there was already, I went through and play tested later, so everything in the house does end up functioning, but I had to like scooch this bar around a lot because for some reason the sim wouldn't just walk past it. They would go through the house and around the side of the patio to get to like right there on the other side of the bar. So I didn't want to put too much furniture around because it was just already a narrow walkway and I didn't want to make that worse. I imagined that this family is a family that probably spends a lot of time outside, so I wanted to give them good seating for that. So I put this little seating area here. We have the bar, they have the fire pit, the picnic table. This isn't a huge family though. The floor plan is 3 bedrooms and 3 or 2.5 bathrooms, I guess. I didn't want it to be like a huge family home. I wanted it to be big but not crowded. And for the decoration of the house, I also really wanted to stick with like the rustic farmhouse ranch vibe, but I didn't want it to appear as like worn or worn, yes, but I didn't want it to be like a broken down like super old looking house. I had the idea that maybe this house had been in the family for generations and slowly like things have been renovated over time, so like the outside was redone to keep it looking nice, but original flooring, stuff like that. I really just wanted it to have that homey, lived in, loving family vibe to it, and I think I did it pretty well. I think the kitchen was actually one of my like favorite rooms just because I was able to get a good amount of clutter in here, and like I said, once you see all the clutter, I did play test this build, so everything is functional. There is one countertop available for cooking, which is really all that your Sims need. They never really need more than one. I had originally done the fridge built in like that. That I can get away with sometimes. I think it really just depends on the fridge. I had to switch it later because it was not functional. So it is now in like the uploaded build it is functional, but originally with how I like to do it built in, it was not. I do use a lot of tool mod in this build, and I like doing it for builds like this because I feel like it brings a new intimate level to the build, more looking like things were made for that space, and I like the vibe that it brings, and you can also just do really cool things with tool mod. Like I made a tree swing in the front yard with tool mod, which you'll see later in the build once I start adding more detail to the outside. I do end up adding more things to the outside. It's a good like base for what's out there right now. I don't add too much, but I had recorded all of this, like building the house and starting the decoration of the outside, and then I had stopped recording to go to sleep, and then the next day when I went to continue recording, I went to check that file to see where I left off, and it was corrupted. So that was not fun. So unfortunately, I don't have footage of me building the house, but it's okay. So here is where I really start going in with the cluttering of the kitchen, and I really wanted it to have that vibe of a mix of like new things and maybe things that have just been in the house forever that have been passed down. I love adding that pot. I think it's from Cottage Living. I love adding that into builds like this because I feel like you could be like, oh, that was my grandma's, my great grandma's, it was my mom's, stuff like that. I really love being able to add a depth to builds with clutter. I feel like, especially if I have like a story in mind, I feel like clutter really lets me bring that story to life. I do end up picking things that are more rustic looking and also having some slightly more modern pieces thrown in there as well, just from people over the years, adding and keeping things from the house. I do put this wall phone from a rewards event on the wall. I thought that was absolutely perfect. In a house like this, they'd probably still have a landline. Even if it didn't work, it would probably still be there. I don't think that they would take it out. I also wanted to add in this kitchen, like a kids corner, I guess, because they do have children. So I was like, you have kids, there's gonna be mess. So I thought it was really cute with this cereal boxes and the milk bottle and the lunch boxes. I thought that just played into the story very well. But yeah, I'm just adding the finishing touches, and that's how it ended up being. Sorry, I really need to get better about when I'm building for SpeedBuilds, about moving the camera so much. I do it to like check what I'm seeing, but it doesn't translate well when I speed it up. In this corner, I absolutely loved this piece. This is something that is in my grandparents' house, and I've always loved it, just like a built-in breakfast nook. And these chairs worked perfect for it, I think. And then I added the pillows to just cover up some of the clipping, but I think overall this ended up being very, very cute addition to the house. And it is functional. I think it's just those two chairs on the outside that work, but nonetheless, your sim can technically sit at this table. I do also put in a formal dining table and seating so that this is not the only option for your sim to sit at a table and eat. I just thought it was a cute addition to the house, but I just go in with some more clutter. I do end up putting an urn here in this little hutch. I imagined maybe it was like one of the grandparents or something, and I put that little like memorabilia picture frame next to it. I don't know. I thought that would lean into the story as well. And for this bathroom over here, so it's a laundry room slash bathroom. I thought maybe in like the olden days it was like a laundry room mud room, and once more people started living in the house with a larger family, they turned it into like a powder room slash laundry room. So I do put a toilet and a sink in here with the washing machine and the dryer. I do end up cutting a lot out of this video because, alone, all of the footage that you're seeing in this video was around like 6 hours of footage, and imagine if I hadn't lost the footage of like building the house and doing the outside, it probably would have been closer to like 8 or 9 hours of footage. So I do cut a lot. When I'm building houses like this, I really try to like find like the perfect pieces of clutter and artwork to really go with it. So it does end up taking me a while. But I try to show like the beginning and then like the middle or end of the section that I'm decorating and cluttering. I would love to be able to show every single item that I place, but that would probably end up being like a 2-hour speed build, and I just don't know that anybody would want to sit through 2 hours of that. Going back to the furniture that I use, again, like these bigger pieces, like the couches, and like there's a desk that I use upstairs, and like the outside furniture, like that's the kind of stuff that I imagine was left in the house and has just been reused and not replaced. So I wanted to give it that older vibe. And I love I like to call it like lived in clutter. So you'll see I put down some stuff on that table over there. It's like the dirty mug, a pair of glasses, and a book. I love to add that into my builds. I feel like it helps it not just look like a staged home, which is fine. I do that sometimes, but for builds like this, I want it to look like there's currently a family living there. Also, when I was editing this, the hutch in the breakfast nook, I had put dog treats there, and I really wanted to give this family a dog because I feel like they would have a dog, and I completely forgot. But then I was thinking maybe it could just be like a ranch dog, like a dog that's primarily outside, and then at night maybe it sleeps like on the couch or in bed with them or something. Just trying to like still fit it into the storyline, because now that there's nothing else for a dog, it's kind of weird that I have dog treats sitting over there. I also imagine that this family does some kind of like the cottage living like fairs and stuff. I imagine that they do that they have like another farm somewhere else that they grow crops or raise livestock or something that is like their income kind of. They're very much like a legacy family, you know, maybe like a great 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 grandparent started a farm and they kind of just carry it on. So I do put on this left wall over here, I put some like certificates and stuff, and I imagine that that's like what their family has earned over the years, kind of. If you can't tell, I really, really like to go in depth as I can with storylines when I'm building houses like this. I know I've said it before, but I really feel like it just brings the build to life, and you can really just like feel the story when you look at it. I was really debating on giving this family a TV because, like I said, I imagine that they're outside a lot, so I imagine they're more of like a no screens kind of family. It's like a go play outside or hang out outside and then come in for dinner kind of thing. But I did end up giving them a TV just because it is The Sims, and obviously that's not really like a gameplay option. I also wanted to imagine that in that empty lot on the side of the house that they had like goats and llamas and chickens and stuff like that, because obviously this family would have those kind of things. I just didn't have space in the backyard, and I could have picked a bigger lot, but I also thought that with having that empty lot, like I said, we could just imagine, and I wouldn't have to place too many items on the lot. I really loved all the wood tones in this build. I wanted to try to add in some more color a little bit, but realistically in older farmhouses like this, it is majority going to be wood. So I tried to stick with that, but I didn't want it to just be wood and wood and wood. So I tried to add in like blues and creams and just stuff that I thought accented it very well. I also tried to keep most of like the decor and like the pictures on the wall and stuff older and not very modern, because that was another thing that I thought that they just wouldn't replace, would be the photos, that they would just leave them as what they have been for years. But I did add in some things, like I put like a phone and a key down here just because that is more modern, and that I feel like that kind of nods to that this is a new age family living in an older home. And now going to the upstairs, I tried to keep the rooms slightly dated, but maybe like they repainted, or obviously new furniture, but still like rustic new furniture, and you'll see what I mean when we get to the bedrooms. I did end up making one of the rooms up here a nursery, and I absolutely love it. I think it's probably one of my favorite nurseries that I've ever made. It's just very cute, very simple, but very much farm little boy kind of vibe. I obviously, as you can tell, I mean, I told you I used a lot of horse ranch in the build, but I really, really tried to lean into that just like classic farm family with everything that I was putting down. I gave them a little office space up here. I imagined that maybe like the breadwinner of the family worked from home, so I cluttered this desk up quite a bit. Not too much that it won't be functional, but enough that it looks like it's been there for a while and it is for somebody that works from home every day. And I gave them some stuff on the walls as well that kind of screamed like home office to me. And yeah, I did put in the My First Pet stuff rodent cage. I don't know why. When I started this build, I thought that I wanted to add it in there, and this just seemed like a good spot to do it, so that is in there. You could definitely replace that with like a bookshelf or something. I just thought that this family would have maybe as many pets as they could. For the bathrooms, I went pretty simple with all of them. I used that tile, I think it's Parenthood, but I liked it because it had the wood siding on the bottom, so I feel like that really stuck with the theme, and the color of the tile was also just perfect. This is the kids' shared bathroom, So I put a lot of like toothbrushes and those little colorful towels in here. But I mean, the parents' bathroom ends up being pretty much the same, just a shower tub combo instead of a just shower. Another thing that I really like to do in like the master bedroom is I like to use the nightstands to kind of differentiate who's getting what side of the bed. So the clutter that I put on the nightstand, like one side will be for the mom. So it'll have like, I think I put like the nail polish and stuff on her side, and some other things, like another pair of glasses, because I imagined that the glasses in the living room in the book was from her. And I think about like when, you know, parents have reading glasses, they usually have like 3 to 4 pairs, so I thought that that was a nice touch. And for the dad, I gave him his like the watch and cologne and stuff. I did give them the wardrobe as well as hanging clothes, just because the wardrobe is not very big and obviously it is 2 adults having to share the space, so I thought I would give them some more clothing storage. But yeah, I'm just adding the finishing touches in their room and bathroom. And then we're about to move on to the nursery, which you'll see why I was so excited about it. I think it was really cute. I don't know if everybody will love it as much as I did, but I knew I wanted to use that horse ranch rug, and I saw that swatch and I was like, oh, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. And I love the little horse ranch dollhouse. I thought that was really cute, especially because it kind of looked like the house. The house is blue. So I thought that was a cute little nod as well. Like maybe they had it specially made for him or something. On the other wall, I end up putting the little like Ironworks farm animals, and I thought that those were super cute. And I end up using a lot of that stuff in the older sister's room as well. And you'll see why when we get over here. I knew when I started building this that I wanted to have a couple of siblings, and I knew that I wanted one of them to be like an equestrian. And so when I made the nursery for a little boy, I was like, well, what's better than having an older sister horse girl? And I used a lot of the debug. I love using debug for things like this. I made her makeup table more realistic, but yeah, I gave her lots of horse stuff around her room, a lot of trophies. I imagine that she has like a competition horse and she works with that horse and wins a lot of the competitions. I think that this was my favorite part of the outside, was this little hay truck. And then I told you about the tree swing. And so what I did for the tree swing was I grabbed a long light and I used tool mod to flip it upside down. And then I just put a shelf on the bottom where there would be like the swing seat. And I thought it just turned out so cute. I was very proud of this one. I love doing stuff like this. It just adds a more realistic edge to a Sims build. I didn't want to leave all these flower pots empty, so I just put some plants in there. Obviously, if you were to play in this house, you'd probably be growing your own plants, but for the tour, I didn't want to leave them empty. And speaking of the tour, let's start this now. So this, obviously, like I said, was my favorite part of the build, is this little truck and tree swing. Let me know what your favorite part was. I really like, in the end, the way that all of this came together. I did add some debug fireflies and dragonflies and stuff like that, just to bring another level of realism to it. But this is what we ended up with, and I really, really like the way that this house turned out. I can definitely see me playing a family in this build. Most of the time, I'll build a house like this, and then I'll be like, oh, I can make a family to live in this house. I sometimes, unless I'm doing something specific, I'll rarely do it the opposite, where I'll like make a cast family and then build a house for them. I feel like building the house really just helps me develop the storyline. I really like the horse girl room. I don't know what it is. I like horses a lot, so maybe it kind of just like touched to me a little bit, but and of course, I love the little nursery as well. I think the color tones in it are just super cute. But yeah, if you enjoyed watching this build and if you want to download it on the gallery, let me know. I'll give you my ID. But I had a really fun time, and I hope everybody else likes it as much as I do. Thank you so much for watching.